There's all this controlled chaos in the house, it's just you.
Yeah.
Good God, man.
Yeah, I got some stuff.
And then some more stuff.
Yeah. This stuff, most of the stuff I owned before I went to uni.
Oh, okay.
Just because my room was like a collection of hoard. And then I moved it with me when I went to uni, and I lived in a box room for a really short time. And then, yeah, once we got the house, it just allowed me to spread everything out and gradually overtake rooms. But this is why I've been having a clear out. And then I had a panic dream last night, which I don't have very often, that my landlord was just selling my house. And I was like, I don't want to move. It's a lot of effort to move. And I was like, yeah, I have no idea why I dreamt about it.
I've had that twice in like a year now. The landlord I'm living under selling the house out from under me.
I mean, I've been here 5 years.
I hate you so much.
I know. This is the thing. I expected to have moved by now. Like, someone would have come along and gone, you know what? Yeah, I'm not too fussed about renting this anymore. But it's never happened.
The big thing with this whole part of Lincoln, though, is it's all student housing.
Yeah.
And that's what people want to change stuff into. This house could maybe house 2 students.
Yeah.
There's no money in it. Because this is the exact design of how Charlotte and I used to live in, basically. Yeah. Except we had like a hallway going through that, and that was another room.
The way around it, which you'll notice on the street, is what people do is they close the front door.
Yeah, and you have to come
in
in the
go
back.
around. Deliver mail at the back, and there is a passage around there, so you could technically do it. But yeah, the max you'll get out of this is 3. I think my landlord just likes the house because she used to live in it, so it was like it's like a little personal project of hers. And she's like,
yeah, fair enough.
Thank you, landlord. If you ever listen to a podcast.
She might do.
She might do. I mean, you might get there. There is sugar in that bowl if you want sugar.
Alright, thank you.
I do make strong coffees.
I mostly drink coffee because I was told that it's good for you.
Coffee's
I don't enjoy the taste and I don't
you.
like hot drinks.
Yeah.
It's really surreal when I explain my coffee drinking habits to people. Because like, do you have milk? No. Sugar? No. Do you drink it hot? No.
Do you enjoy it? No.
No. Why do you drink it? Because I read somewhere that it's really good for you, so I thought, you know what, coffee's not expensive. I'll try it. So I get a mug, let it cool, and just drink the whole thing in one go. And I used to do that before I went to the gym. And then I stopped because I couldn't be bothered to plan 20 minutes ahead.
I mean, that sound like, I know my coffee lifestyle is not particularly healthy. I did a month coffee free.
Ooh.
Last month.
Is that rough?
February.
But the shortest month of the year you managed, did you?
I decided to do cold turkey for a month. And the first 2 weeks were awful. Within a day, I had full withdrawal. I vomited. I had a migraine for 4 days. And then I had ricochet headaches for 9 days following that. Because I didn't take paracetamol because it contained caffeine. I didn't eat chocolate.
How much coffee and caffeine do you go through?
Before this, I was on 6 to 8 cups a day.
Okay, yeah, no, yeah.
And I decided to get cold turkey because, fuck it, I hate myself.
Is that even Lent? February's not Lent,
no.
is it? No.
No, I was just going to do it in
Just
February.
had a moment of craziness that lasted for 28 days, did you?
Yeah, it usually happens, doesn't it?
That's how I write scripts, I think.
I intake a lot of coffee, but yeah, that seems like the way you do it just seems like, I don't know, it's like a punishment for yourself. Just like
it's medicine, basically. Yeah.
It's like doing like an ice bucket dunk just to psych yourself up. It's like, I'm just going to take this. It's like, no. Whereas I'm constantly imbibing it. Anyway, we've managed to skip over the start of the podcast.
Oh, this
jump straight in. We're already
going. Introduction.
Well, the introduction is essentially, welcome to your Link Concrete podcast, Chris.
Nice, thank you for having me here.
I know. For anyone listening, I see this is again. I'm running into the issue which I run with a lot of guests. I classify you as an actor because that's what I know you as for the most part. Mm-hmm. Outside your regular job, is that accurate for you?
I probably do more writing than acting nowadays, just because finding acting work isn't common, I suppose. No, yeah. But no, I've acted, I've written, I've danced. I can play instruments technically.
Could we classify you just as like a performer?
Performance artist, yeah. That's a nice safe umbrella term, yeah.
Yeah, just like a general auteur of
everything.
Performing.
I know enough about everything to be very opinionated.
I think, that's a goal.
That's the goal, I feel.
The goal for everything. It's just like, I know just enough. Why? Just so I can have an opinion on things.
Yeah. That's the only reason I have any interest in science and politics, because then I can take part in the discussion.
Don't want to solve anything. Just,
oh God,
just full
God,
on
no.
argue it. That's the balance.
If all my friends were Labour, I would be a Conservative for the sake of the argument. If it wasn't
just looking to pick fights, Chris.
Yeah, well, you know,
Well,
Sunderland's a rough city. You can't take me out of it entirely.
No, I mean, you know.
The accent's softened though. For anyone who's listening and doesn't think I sound like a Macca.
I wouldn't say you have a particularly strong Sunderland accent in any way, shape, or form.
No, give me another 5 drinks or 6 drinks, so I'll start to sound a bit more. But no, not dirty.
We could drag it out of you, kicking and screaming. The other part of the introduction is a question for you, which I ask every person is: how long have we known each other, Chris?
3 years.
3 years.
I'm going to say 3 years because that's when I graduated university and I didn't really know you when I was at Lincoln.
And we were kind of like, I think you're one of those friends where it's like, I know you, but we don't spend a lot of time together.
No.
But we have very overlapping friend groups, so it's like we can't keep running into each other. And I just always find it interesting as a question because seeing how people interact differently. Obviously, like I did one with my brother, we've known each other forever, and then I did one with Nathan Dean, who I'd never met prior to that podcast.
Oh.
So
that's
we just kind of dive in and just go.
This happens to be you met on a periphery of a friendship group.
Yeah, it was names kept coming up, and I was like,
you know what?
We'll meet first time.
Come to my house and we'll discuss things with
We will
coffee.
discuss things and we will see how we interact as people.
I've always, for you and my friendship, I've always classified it as we don't see each other often, but when we do, we tend to just sit and talk for long periods of time.
Yeah.
Usually drinking or smoking.
Yeah.
You with your pipe that have you stopped smoking that blasted thing yet? No, it still hovers around.
Yeah. And the occasional cigarette, yeah.
Can't be bothered.
Whatever's available whilst
fair enough,
drinking, because I'm one of those terrible people who smokes when they're drunk. And that's, you know.
You don't smoke when you're not drunk.
Well, I smoke my pipe when I'm not drunk.
That's. I don't know what it is about your pipe that bothers me. I think it's because no one else I know smokes one. And I work with old people, so I feel like some of them should smoke.
It's one of those things where, like, I feel because it's essentially a hipsterism, isn't it? It's one of those things which is like a cliche of a hipster having. It's like, oh, they smoke a pipe, and you know,
because they're far too good to smoke otherwise.
Yeah, it's like it's like the whole goth thing of like they only smoke licorice cigarettes and menthols and herbal things. It's one of those little tropes, and I'm like, I feel like I should know more people who smoke a pipe. Because Lincoln's full of hipsters. It
is, but it seems to be full of hipsters who don't like to smoke.
I know, and that's insane.
Yeah, or they only smoke cigarettes, like little thin rolled cigarettes when they're drunk.
Yeah. And then there's me who's just like,
yeah, fine, this is my thing.
It's like, I'm dying. It's great, cool.
Well, when I used to smoke cigarillos, but that was literally just because I didn't like the taste of cigarettes.
That's fair.
But I got used to the smell of cigarettes from living in pubs when I was younger, and when I was feeling a bit homesick, it was just something I turned to, I guess.
Yeah.
Along with the excessive vodka drinking. Which stopped, thankfully.
Yeah. That's not something you want to drag on into adult life, is it? Excessive vodka drinking?
No, I don't.
On a day-to-day.
One shot of vodka when I got out of bed got me to my lectures for about a month. And then I recognised that wasn't very healthy.
That's not a lifestyle you want to be living, really.
It's only a little shot.
Yeah.
That's what I told myself.
I think like alcohol's one of those weird things of like, a lot of people, it's like the whole do a dry month. A lot of people struggle with that. And for me, like, I mean, obviously giving up coffee was a huge thing for me, but I can give up booze real easily. It would not bother me not to have a drink probably ever again.
That's nice, I suppose.
I think it's one of those strange things. Like, I think a lot of people kind of like, they go to it as like a simple, this is what everyone does.
Kind of an escape that's socially acceptable.
It's acceptable. I can just go do it. It's cheap to some end point, you know. And
it can be cheap.
Yeah, and whereas like for me, it's like, nah, it's just
something.
Yeah.
I think I probably have a night where I drink once a month.
Yeah.
Nowadays, maybe even less, because I mostly only do it with friends.
Yeah.
Sometimes if I'm having a really bad time or like my mental health isn't as good as it was, I might turn to like I'll have a few drinks and just go to sleep early.
Yeah.
That's what drinking is for me now. It's either something I do socially or something I do because I need to sleep.
Yeah.
And I can't.
That's fair.
I've never had to get out of bed and drink. I've always known before. I'm like, okay, 2 shots and a bit of soft drink, and you'll go to sleep in an hour. Like,
Yeah.
I know that's kind of how my body works. I think I don't think that's unhealthy. I think having a good awareness of what your body is and isn't good with is something we all should try and strive for.
I think that's more. It's less kind of treating as an addiction or anything like that. It's more just being aware of how you react to certain things. It's kind of like people who make a glass of milk before they go to bed, because like this helps me sleep. If I'm going to struggle to sleep, and I know I'm going to struggle to sleep, I'll make myself something to go to sleep.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, it's like a weird NyQuil, but it's just booze.
Hard NyQuil.
Adult
NyQuil.
It's the Hemingway of NyQuil. It's just, I'm going to move in and I'm just going to drink this and I'll be fine.
I think the only problem I've ever had with alcohol is when people glorify alcoholism.
Yeah.
You get people, and they're not very common, especially not nowadays with how health aware people have become. You get some people who kind of glorify like the tragic artist who drinks to them on their own, or who sits and smokes in like in a messy room, scrawling notes away. And like I understand where the trope comes from, and it comes from people like, I want to say Hemingway was that kind of thing, Poe was that kind of thing, where they something never quite connected with them, with reality, and that was how they coped. But then people glorify it and they try and emulate it without actually needing to. Yeah. And they cut themselves off from people. I think that's a real shame.
I think it's one of those things which kind of, because the trope's interesting, especially with those ones where you kind of, like nowadays, if you get someone who's an artist or a performer or anything like that, usually they end up in that trope just from stress.
Yeah.
It's like it becomes a way to cope, and then all of a sudden it's like they're a heavy drinker, they're a heavy smoker, and then someone sees that and goes, so they've been doing this from day one, right? Like this is how you create this. You go out, you buy a pack of cigarettes and a bottle of brandy, and that's your evening set. Rather than realizing it's like, no, they probably did it a little bit, and then that's just gotten worse and worse and worse. So you gotta have that coping. I guess it's that coping with success in a sense.
I see your point, to be fair. It's always interesting to think where those stereotypes come from, though, isn't it?
I mean, obviously you can go, too far, and then some people break free of it and are stronger for it.
Some people enjoy it, which I always find a bit perverse when you meet an artist who really enjoys being starving hungry and having not succeeded in weeks. And they just, like, that's their thrill, but next time it'll be great. Next time it'll succeed.
There is a little joy in suffering, I will admit.
There is. Some people take it a little far, maybe.
Yeah, they can. I mean, I think that there's a difference. Oh, there's a balance to reach. I mean, again, like we're giving up caffeine. A lot of people ask me why I did it, because I knew it was going to be awful.
Yeah.
And it's because a little bit of me is a little bit masochistic, and it's like I need to put myself through it. I need to experience something where my body is out of my control.
Okay.
And so I'll go do that. I'll go explore my limit, so to speak.
Was part of it maybe also to see a few kids?
Yeah.
Is that what you say?
There's a little bit of challenge in it. It's that kind of, I think, but then again, I mean, coming around to booze, it's like, I do that as a way of fighting entropy, because I see it as a way of challenging myself. I work a regular job, do my creative stuff on the side, but there's no real challenge to any of it. It's just there. I'm just existing. So every once in a while I go, right, let's challenge this. Let's see how well I do with no money, how well I do with no coffee. Whereas a lot of people tend to booze to kind of do that. You get a lot of people who work regular jobs and will only go out on a weekend and get absolutely obliterated, because it gives them that little break from everything which they know is consistency. That
little touch of danger as well. That little touch of, I don't know where I'm going to end up.
Yeah. There's that moment. It's that moment of, I know I'm going to die. I could die. This could be good.
Let's see where this takes me. Let's see what happens.
It's risking death in a controlled environment.
Where I won't actually die, but just maybe.
Yeah.
Just maybe.
There's like a slim percentage. And then occasionally the slim percentage does die, and then they go, it's a tragedy. I'm like, no, everyone knew what they were doing.
They did that.
Everyone was aware. Everyone knew when they started that night out that drinking a bottle of tequila and then driving was a bad idea, and they still did it. We come round in these things. I think most people need a coping mechanism one way or another. Even if you feel consistent, you got to break once in a while, as I call it. You got to have that little break. Just to,
a little crack.
Just to remind you that you're human, essentially.
I put a lot of stock in my ability to put up with stuff, but yeah, I totally agree. Yeah. You need something where you can just put all that to one side and just say, yeah, no, this is my thing. I don't care if it's dangerous, I don't care if it's embarrassing. This is what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
It used to be dance for me, and I had to stop that, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Just like a weird mix of people making judgments about me and me not being able to ignore that anymore.
Yeah.
So, a bit after when we first met, I suppose. A couple of years before we met, I started doing pole dancing.
Okay. Yeah.
And I really enjoy it. I started because I worked in a dance company, and I worked there doing physical training sessions with them.
Yeah.
I'd been a dancer for most of my life, but I'd never really like pushed myself like dance professionally or anything. And then I was there a lot, and I started getting involved in their dance pieces. We did the Olympic parade when that came through Lincoln.
Nice.
I was embarrassing as all hell. Dressed as a 30-foot personified flame, dancing down the key. It was pretty cool. There's pictures, but also horrifyingly embarrassing. It was the windiest I've ever experienced in my life. And I was just in a mainsail, basically.
I love the idea of someone planning this and going, right, we're in Lincoln, one of the windiest places ever. You know what we need? Someone with a large sail on the thing.
A good 50% of the costumes, I would say, resembled sails.
That's beautiful. That's tragically beautiful.
I was the second person in the march behind a little girl in like a tiny little Olympic flame outfit. Right. It was very cute. I keep telling her to keep moving though, so she keeps turning around. There's this like 19-year-old guy like wrestling down the key. Like, keep moving, just keep at pace with the band. Good God. But yeah, they used to do a lot of different stuff. They did like burlesque and fan dances and stuff. They did pole dancing, and I just gave it a try a couple of times. I really enjoyed it, and then that company collapsed in on itself, as artistic companies tend to do.
Yeah, usually though.
And then a few years later, around about when you and I started interacting, I found a new pole dancing class, and I started attending that. It was just, I enjoyed it at first, and I always enjoyed challenge. I always enjoyed trying new things. But there was just this persistent idea of, I suppose, two things. One, that the only reason I would be a dancer who could be in a room full of women without constantly coming onto them was that I was gay. Mm-hmm. And two, that I always wanted to be on my own because I'm a quiet person. Or I was a lot quieter then than I am now, I feel I should point out. And just, I would bounce between these two ideas, and everyone would keep reacquiring these ideas. And it got to the point where I was going there and I was just on my own, working on my own for like 2 hours. Yeah. And then I was leaving, and it was a good workout, and I was enjoying it, and when people interacted with me, it was really nice, but I couldn't bring myself to keep going, and that was a real shame for me, because it was something I genuinely enjoyed, and something I think I genuinely did alright at, but...
Yeah, it's a real shame. I think pole dancing is like a strange one. I mean, I've never really thought of the isolation of pole dancing, but it is something you do alone. It's a solo dance, which in itself is kind of unique to that.
You can do duo dances,
yeah,
but they are a very strange affair.
I mean, I've never seen like
a friend of mine did a competition in dual dancing, got like second, and I was looking at their routine. It's like, because in pole dancing you're either spinning or holding.
Yeah.
So you're suspending yourself from the pole in various ludicrous positions, and when you get to duo, the other person basically hangs off you for half of your stuff.
Right, okay.
It's just another level of ludicrous.
Yeah,
I really enjoy the idea.
I can suspend myself from this pole, and then someone can hang from me.
Oh, okay. Wait, what?
It's like, alright, so you're hanging from me. Maybe we can do this upside down.
Maybe we can do it 20 feet up. Spinning. I did an
Once again, we're back to that human idea of like, yeah, we could
fun.
die during this. Yeah, this would be good, right?
We did, Lincoln Big was having a what's the word? Like a showing local companies and groups.
Like a showcase type thing.
Yeah, and they gave us a space down by the Riverside shopping. Mm-hmm. We set up 3 poles and just spent like an hour dancing. And I don't think I've ever had more strange stares from people than like 10 women and me stood just spinning around poles and like dancing and laughing, and like, I think it's enjoyable but a surreal experience for them, I suspect, to see me there.
It is one of those things. I think pole dancing as well has like a strange mesmerising quality because it's an unusual thing to see. Like dancing, 2 people on the ground wiggling about. That's quite odd, but it's a social norm because everyone does it. But yeah, you kind of come across the pole dance and you're like, wait a minute, that's not what you do with a lamppost. That's an oddity in our society. That's quite odd.
But I want to know more.
Yeah, because I'm intrigued.
It doesn't help that we have like connotations of pole dancing with stripping.
Yes,
and they are
a very close link. Yeah,
they're not like connected, but like if you learn to strip, you'll probably learn a pole dance.
Yeah.
I'm never quite sure why. I suppose because you're mounting something.
Yeah, I guess
that's the only connection I can.
It's learning the things within your environment. So it's like if you have that kind of, if you are stripping, likelihood is you're going to come across the stage with a pole. So you're going to need to learn how to use a pole.
Yeah, put it in your routine.
It's there, so you're going to have to use it. Otherwise, you're just not utilising your whole stage. You got to use the props and the people.
No touching.
No touching. Well, not for you, the guests.
Not for me. What? No, not for you, Chris.
The dancer can touch, but you can't touch the guests. I've literally never been to a strip club, so I have no idea what the rules are.
I
mean, there's 2 in Lincoln.
There's not only 2, is there?
There's 2 in Lincoln, I think.
There's just more than that.
Really?
I feel like there's more than that.
I mean, I'm aware of 2. We'll give them a quick shout out to anyone who's coming to Lincoln for a strip club. There's Crystal's and Cloud9. I can't say which is better or worse.
I've been in one of them, and it was the most dingy, miserable experience of my life. Not going to say which. You can find that out yourself.
You got Russian roulette of 2.
I just it was a friend's birthday,
yeah,
and it was the end of the night, and that was the place that was open after we got kicked out of home because it was 3 a.m.
This is usually how.
This is why you end up with strip clubs.
Yeah. You end up at the strip clubs, or you end up at the pool hall, which isn't close to like 5 a.m.
Don't you have to be a member?
Yeah, you see that's in the pool hall is slightly more classy. That you have to have a membership card than a strip club, which will just allow you in if you have money.
Yeah, whatever. In you come. I just had a overpriced cider, and my friend went and had a strip dance, and just everyone seemed tired and everyone seemed worn out. And then when I go do pole dancing, it's all energetic. Everyone's enjoying themselves. Yeah. I could never mesh those 2 things in my head because I had such strikingly different experiences, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, you're introduced to it in a different way. Yeah, I mean, I think it's that kind of thing, isn't it? Of like pole dancing, especially in recent years, most people see it as it's a fitness thing. You say pole dancing, they think fitness.
They think they try to rebrand it as pole gymnastics and pole fitness, but it's still pole dancing.
It's mixed. It's now it triggers the same things as like yoga. It's cardio is something you go do, whereas like stripping obviously now is. Still stripping. It's still
great.
Yeah.
Some people frown on it.
Well, then I think in the UK at least, I don't think stripping's associated with poles as much.
I suppose not.
It's a very American movie type thing. Main stage, Sandy's on for the night.
Here comes Sandy.
Yeah.
Time for my dance.
Looking for
boys. It's never a classy lady on the pole, is it?
No.
No.
But I think the general idea is not to glamorise stripping in mystery films as a way of making money.
I don't know.
It's kind of like you can't
You've got to play your strengths, right? Or the worst piece of advice you will ever hear: follow your dreams.
Follow your dreams.
It's the worst piece of advice. If you're going to follow your dreams, you don't need to hear that advice.
No.
If you hear that advice and you're not following your dreams, you're not the kind of person crazy enough to achieve your dreams. Have dreams, work towards them, yes. Don't like drop everything to be a musician because you play guitar for a week, which is like people are ludicrous with advice sometimes.
Yeah.
Like you asked me to come in with a subject, and I brought on online dating, and that when I was like thinking through what I would talk about, poor advice is right at the top of my table of things I hate. The words "be yourself" are etched in my mind as things to like spit at people. When they I don't even like if you're struggling with being single and someone says to you be yourself, I can't help but think, what do you think I've been doing? Like do they assume I put on a mask and go out and like, haha, it is me, Count Olaf. I have come to meet the women of this fine town. Like no, I
imagine you'd have quite a lot of success if you put that up as a profile.
I probably would. Would you believe?
This is the Count Olaf experience. Come along.
Hello, Count Olaf.
I'll murder your parents, and then we'll have a nice enjoyable adventure for the rest of the
What was that first part? Nice enjoyable lunch. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
I probably would, yeah, but I presume people think you're being false. I
think there's a measure of. I mean, we'll drag this round as a kind of thing. Obviously, we're discussing being uncomfortable and being very self-aware, and online dating has a huge part of that. Is a lot of it is. A lot of people are uncomfortable, so it results to online dating, and then the whole cliche of online is that you're not yourself online. So then they think you might not be yourself in person either.
That's a fair point, I suppose.
Yeah, you duck out of what you kind of naturally do, and you be an exaggerated version of yourself because you're online, because that's what online allows. And you can't help but do that because they're seeing a very minute part of your personality. And then people just assume, it's like, oh, you go on a date, and you'll probably just be. You'll try and live up to that standard. You try and...
My bag's just escaping me, so
That's fine. I mean, the extra noises are what make this podcast. That's what they come for, the extra
the
noises.
small noises, us dropping things, occasionally glancing at the camera.
I mean, you kind of lose a little bit of experience if you're not watching the YouTube thing. But, you know, the SoundCloud is good, it's good. You know. But yeah, I think the whole be yourself thing, to me, be yourself always reminds me of being a kid. When you're going to school and you go, how do I make friends? And they say, just be yourself. And they're trying to instill that idea of honesty in you.
Don't.
But
No.
that's not how you make friends.
You make friends by doing activities with people
Yes.
that you enjoy, preferably, or that you can make yourself enjoy.
Yes.
Do you like a sport? Play a sport, join a team. Right.
You make
This is
friends by
university
finding
advice
common
as well, I
ground.
feel.
That's,
Yeah.
it's like, be yourself. It's like, yeah, but myself's this whole thing, and the only thing we have in common is music.
Then
It's
do
like,
music.
just talk about music. That's yeah.
That's how you interact with people.
Yeah.
You and me don't talk about everything that we're interested in because
Because
we don't have all the same
You know,
interests.
I've never pole danced in my life, but
yet.
you know,
You're not dead yet, Graham.
I mean, I'm trying. We'll get there eventually. 10 more cups of coffee.
If you go back to that coffee habit of yours, I wouldn't be shocked. No.
My liver is in peak condition. Peak condition.
That's black coffee's good for like imagination, cognition, memory, isn't it? So
Yeah.
you can remember all the pain you went through last month at least. So that's nice.
I mean, I learned things through my coffee detox of like kind of side effects. Like I had muscle spasms and like muscle aches from quitting caffeine.
Good grief.
And it's because my muscles were used to being fueled. They were used to me having energy.
Do you have a healthy diet besides your coffee?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like outside of coffee, I've fairly normal
healthy.
normal diet. I kind of eat quite balanced, quite well. But yeah, coffee's just my one.
Coffee became the pillar upon which.
Yeah,
You
which
built
everything else was
everything.
built. Thick black tarry goodness.
Ew. This is nice coffee though. I will say that much.
Yeah. I mean, eventually I hope to get a coffee sponsor for this show.
But for now, it's just.
Just now, whatever I've got. That's
Is it Carif? That's called. Carif.
cafetiere.
Cafetiere.
Yeah,
Cool.
nice little cafetiere.
I know there's a calf in there somewhere.
Yeah. I mean, I could give you help because it's written on this side.
Oh, thanks.
But I thought I'd let you struggle, just for a moment.
Wow, this is the guest right that I get coming into your
I
house, is
mean,
it?
no one gets trapped amazingly. I've got to question you on some things. Speaking of which, you know, we'll jump back to online dating. So, where are you? I mean, are you a positive person of online dating?
Right.
I'm assuming no, considering the previous sentences.
I'm gonna break this down into two parts.
Okay.
Generally, I think online dating is a great idea. Like, as for people like me who do irregular kind of awkward jobs where you don't meet people
Yes.
and who aren't into sports, like team sports, and who don't find out opportunities to meet people, online dating and stuff like that, like classified ads, which I think is the same kind of thing, I think it's a great idea because it gives you so many opportunities to meet so many people. And you can meet people from all kinds of walks of life. You find strange connections between them. A friend of mine's getting married this year or last year from a girl he met on Tinder
Fair.
3-4 years ago.
Yeah.
No, not 4 years ago. Or 5-6 years ago, in fact. Yeah, they met when I was starting university. And they're just the sweetest
I
couple.
didn't even know Tinder existed before you, like 5 years ago.
I think it was literally just starting, which is I think why he was so successful in it. Because
Yeah.
no one knew
Over
the
time,
rules of
yeah,
Tinder.
there's
at
only
the
a
time.
few people on it. So.
No, a couple of my friends have met through online dating, and they've all had positive things to say about it.
Yeah.
Which is what started me on it. I hate online dating. I'm not very good at it.
You're not very good at it.
I'm going to throw some numbers at you now, Graham.
Okay.
Right. So I've been in online dating
Yes.
over, I'd say, 3 or 4 websites: Tinder, Bumble, all these apps that everyone throws out and invents and then they collapse.
Yep. Yep.
I'd like you to guess how many messages I have received as replies or first messages in those 3 years.
3 years over multiple platforms.
Multiple platforms, mobile and sites. If you're within 5,
is this-
I will give you money.
Is this messages you received without prompt or messages in
No,
reply?
overall.
Just overall. Okay.
Replies
Just
without
replies.
prompt,
Okay.
anything.
3 years. I mean, I'd say about 30.
30.
Yeah.
Right. You are 26 off.
26 off.
I have received 4 messages
messages.
in 3 years, and
Okay.
I will break those down to you. Two of them were a short conversation that went nowhere.
Right.
Fine, that's what I was kind of anticipating, and that
Yeah.
was when I was starting. I was like, okay, so this is what online dating
That's
is
what
like.
you expect about that.
This is kind of fun.
Yeah.
Okay, like,
Yeah.
we didn't have a lot in common. Cool. One of them was unprompted, someone making fun of my alopecia.
Okay, that's not what you want from.
No, it's kind of surreal in a way.
Yeah.
Like I was browsing. I was like, oh, you have a new message on. I think Plenty of Fish. I was like, oh, that's a new one. I didn't know they did that. To open it, it's just like making fun of my hair, making me look stupid. It's like, are you having a really slow day, love? Like,
Is this how you pick people up? Like
block, I suppose.
Yes.
There's a block function, and then one was someone asking if Tinder has a option where like called smart photos or something, where it puts like photos that it thinks will do well at this front.
Yes.
And I had loads of photos of me doing stuff, and I had a photo of me with a friend out for drinks.
Right.
And I got a message from someone asking if my friend was single. I'm just like, okay, I'm going to delete this app now because...
I mean, it sounds...
What? What's this?
It sounds like you're a little bitter.
It's funny, and I can see the humour in it.
Yeah.
It's also a bit upsetting.
Yeah,
I'll be
I can
honest.
appreciate
Like,
that. Yeah.
Everyone's
if you're
like-
trying and everyone else is trying and you feel like you're not getting
Well,
success.
what doesn't help is, all my friends are either in relationships or they go on Tinder and it's like, oh, I got like 5 messages this week, but none of them really went anywhere. And I'm sat like, are you
kidding me?
seething with like pent up fury?
Yeah.
Yeah, well.
I mean, see, online dating for me, like, I mean, obviously I've been single for about just over a year now. Like, it was about a year and a few months, and I didn't start dating for 6 months or so after my relationship ended because I was like, I can't do that. I don't know. And obviously I went for online dating because I work erroneous hours and do podcasts at all hours of the day.
That's all you do, just podcast from place to place.
Yeah, and I honestly didn't know what to expect because my view of online dating was trapped in like the 90s. It was, you've got mail and creepy guys on Craigslist just asking to see your cock. That's like the strange kind of balance of it all. So yeah, I kind of like delved into it, and within a couple of months, I realised that all online dating is just a game.
Yes.
It's one of those things that you can't, and I always feel kind of like you can never take it seriously, and you can never take the amount of replies you get or the amount of matches you get seriously, because for a lot of people they do it as a way of passing the time. They're single, so they're able to, so they do, and you're learning about people as you go.
I had a very eye-opening experience maybe 6 months ago.
Yeah.
I was going out, excuse me. I was going out for a night out with 2 female friends. They're fairly good friends. One of them's been in a long-term relationship, one has never had a boyfriend, and just isn't interested in it, really. Yeah. But her friends got her onto Tinder, and she literally plays it as a game. Yeah. It's like, oh, I'm gonna go swipe Tinder. And so they sat there going left and right, left and right, left and right on people. And like just watching like giggling and laughing at people's profiles, it's like, okay, this is how people perceive this. Like,
this is what Tinder is.
It's really surreal to see other people's experience with it being so different to my own.
Yeah, I think it's that tragedy of Tinder and online dating in general, like Plenty of Fish, OkCupid, anything of that ilk, is that it's advertised as a way of making connections with people. In the same way that Facebook used to be advertised as meet friends. You'll have friends. MySpace, you'll have friends. This is how you make friends. We're giving you that extra balance. So a lot of people do approach it as, I'm going to find love. I'm going to find romance. And I'm going to go, and it's going to start my journey on this fantastic thing of meeting all these people. But the problem is, because it's an app and it's an online entity, it comes with a level of joke. It comes with a level of, this is something trivial, forget that it's real people. Yeah. And it's why people feel like they can get away with like insulting people or trolling people online, is because it's trivial to them. It's just this fabricated thing.
There's no consequences.
There's no consequences. At all. So with an app like Tinder, if you approach Tinder, you kind of have to approach it as, this is all fake. It's only real if I meet a person and I face to face with them, and that is how that situation will go. Everything outside of that is completely fake. Because people, even when people swipe, like, they're never looking for a person. They're looking for an ideal.
Or an experience.
Or an experience, yeah. It's always something like, you kind of sit there and swipe, and you're looking at people, and you're like, if I met this person on the street, they're an average good-looking person. We may have common interests, and we may get along. But I'll probably swipe left. Because you're looking for an ideal. Because it's Tinder. Because it's fake. It's not something which you can kind of take to heart. And people forget that people are taking it to heart. And that's obviously damaging, and then that adds to the whole social media beast, which is kind of what everything is on that.
Are we ragging on social media as well?
I mean, social media Tinder's just social media now.
It is.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
It's social media for single people and people who cheat.
I'll be honest. I got a new phone recently because my one broke, and I was thrilled that I couldn't get Tinder to work on it.
Yeah.
Because it was just like I just stopped trying to get it to work. I was like, do you know what? I don't care. I don't care that that's not there. Like It's been 3 years now. I can probably cope for a little longer.
I mean, even without this, like, I feel like you kind of it doesn't work for everybody.
No.
That's the thing.
Clearly.
Well, yeah, this is the thing, and I think because it is pushed as such a thing now, and obviously it is a social, everyone's aware of it. You know, my parents are aware of Tinder. You know,
that's a creepy concept to me.
Yeah, it's this whole weird idea. It's like Tinder is like it's seen within our generation as like a sex app, but your parents are aware of Tinder because the internet's made it so visible.
I feel like it moved from a hookup app to a dating app because it became more popular.
Yeah.
And as more people started using it, they were like, oh no, this is for meeting people.
Yeah.
And wink wink, getting to know people.
The amount of profiles which you see which are like, I will lie about how we met.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
why? we met online. Cool.
You know, we're a modern generation.
They polled it. They did like a write-in poll about how people think is the most common way to meet, and everywhere but France says that they'd rather meet online than face-to-face.
Yeah.
Everywhere in Europe but France, which probably lied, because it's the French.
I mean, the French are passionate people.
That's
I mean, they don't need Tinder. They'll just walk along the street and be like, hey.
So the Italians.
Yeah. Well, the Italians are just
the finger clicking Italians, right? We can't do strong national stereotype jokes on this podcast show.
No.
We won't.
We could, but we'd have to throw in a few British ones,
obviously,
which is why we're all hiding in our homes. You know,
we're a ludicrous
country. You know, we're casually dealing with the frustration that we can't talk to people, yet we don't want to talk to people because we're English.
We're sat on a podcast complaining about things in our lives that we would never bring up.
We haven't talked about the weather.
Oh God, don't. Please.
I mean,
the wind.
You know.
It's far too much.
We've already been on the wind today, so yeah.
We discussed the weather before the podcast. We've got it all out of our system.
Well, yeah, it's one of these kind of like strange things about it. I think because of the way it is a part of society, a lot of people see it as the only way to meet now, forgetting that the rest of reality exists. It's like if you were in like the 90s and there was no online dating, and in like early 90s, you'd be thinking, how do I meet people?
Well, I'd have been thinking Gaga Goo because I was born in the early 90s.
Well, yeah, I mean, if we were adults. Yeah, so like, how do you meet people in general? It's like you'd have to go to parties, you'd have to go out to random coffee shops and approach strangers.
Which is a complete social taboo now.
Yeah.
Talking to strangers
How do you approach a stranger?
You can't.
I can't approach a stranger because...
Between it just being a little awkward and the amount of stuff you read online of people genuinely being really uncomfortable when someone starts a conversation with them, I would never want to start a conversation with someone without them obviously making it clear that they wanted to
There is
start
a gap, though, I've found. All right, so there's a loophole in
the
approaching strangers.
Do you go on?
Which you'll hate. Smoking.
Yes.
Smoking
you
is
are
the
right.
one situation where you are still completely socially acceptable to stand outside on your own having a cigarette. Someone else comes out and you can engage in conversation.
Do you know what? I carry a lighter when I go out for nights out.
Yeah.
Just so I can offer someone a light if they need one.
And they want to get rid of smoking.
How
We'll never talk to a person again.
The entire country dies off in one generation.
Yeah, it's just like the dream of early 90s and 2000s was meeting someone, in a bookshop. That's what your rom-coms were doing, was saying, oh, you'll meet someone in a bookshop, you'll go to a wedding and you'll meet someone at a wedding. It's anywhere where there's a large congregation of people was how you would meet someone. Whereas now the general idea is, no, you'll probably meet someone online. You'll be Facebook friends with someone.
Or maybe part of like a group or something.
Yeah, it'll be a friend of a friend. You'll go on Tinder, you'll meet someone through that.
And it's a big struggle for people who have very small or very like niche social groups, I feel.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have a huge social group. I have a lot of people I kind of talk to. And I have a couple of people who I'm very close to who are all in relationships, like I said earlier.
Yeah.
And there's the problem that a lot of the stuff I'm interested in is very gender segregated. It's like I love dance, which is all women.
Yeah.
And I love computer games and nerd stuff, which is all dudes. Obviously there are men and women in
on either
opposites,
side, but the general
they're
view
so
is
few and far between. And then like it logically it feels like dancing should be a great way of meeting women, but it's not, because it's a woman's, it's a weird word, it's a woman's space, in the same way that a man space, you don't bring relationships into it. It's all about like what you're doing there. Like in a more mixed group setting, I think it would be fine. Like if I was doing ballroom dancing, I think that would be a more reasonable conversation to bring up. But when it's all just women, it doesn't feel comfortable to talk about that kind of thing.
You kind of get that. I get you in the sense of that whole idea of if you go to an event or you're going to something which is kind of subject led, you feel that it's kind of wrong to take something like hitting on someone to one of these events because people aren't there for that.
No.
They're there for whatever subject you've gone for. You know, you go to a gaming event, you're there for gaming. You're not there to be picked up. You know, you go to dance, you're there to dance.
The one that always strikes me is people like to pick up on the fact I go to the gym every day. Like, is that not a good space to meet people? No. Everyone's exhausted. Everyone stinks of sweat. Everyone's so focused on what they're doing.
Every gym meme I see is about people like, don't fucking talk to me at the gym.
I have two times my own body weight strapped to my spine. Please don't strike up whether about to talk about the weather.
You know, say, ask how I'm doing.
How you doing? Good talk, man. Like, it's an awful place to meet people.
Narrowing down the places you can meet people. Essentially, you just have to approach someone on the street, and yet I would fucking hate to be approached on the street.
People like wave and say hi to me because I work with old people for my job. So when they recognise me out on the street, they're like, "Oh, hello, Chris." I'm like, oh, "Hi."
Yeah.
So I'm not ready for people.
Yeah.
Like I do my job and I'm very sociable and very polite to them.
Yeah.
But if they catch me, I have to very rapidly like get back into work mode so I can do the whole hello there, how are we doing?
How's it going?
And I'm out again, I'm like back to my phone, what's Reddit telling me today? Oh, the news is up.
I mean,
good.
to be honest, that's I don't think that's ever just like one person. I think that's our generation. We're very insular people. We're a lot more narcissistic than previous generations because we've been given the opportunity to be a lot more narcissistic, so we fully embraced it.
But at the same time, we also mock narcissism hugely.
Because we're English.
Well,
we're self-aware.
You've got to think we're the selfie generation, but I think it's now a really weird taboo to take a selfie.
I think
how weird would you feel if someone just took their phone out and took a selfie themselves? Would you find that odd?
I find that odd because it's a blocking of interaction between two people. It's that difference between people who take a lot of selfies, or take selfies on their own, or take selfies alone but in a group setting. Like, I have no problem like taking a selfie with me and you right now, because it'd be like, there's a pair of us. I'm including you in what we're doing, you know. But if I was to sit there and be like,
just while we're
pretty
talking,
good.
Yeah. I suppose I do that more often, Graham.
Well, you know,
just try
to mirror myself.
Some business meeting 10 years in the future. Pardon me a moment.
Excuse me, selfie moment.
Carry on. Doing business.
Any hope in the future is that they do exactly the same thing. Just like, neither of us included in the other photo, just pure selfie.
Well, no. You take a selfie of them taking a selfie so you can make fun of them taking selfies with the caption of your selfie.
Well, yeah.
That's the meta we have to build towards as a country. This great nation.
I mean, we're getting there. We're gradually slipping towards making fun of ourselves for making fun of ourselves, and that's, you know. But then, I mean, we do.
I think we'll then implode as a country if we have to be sarcastic about our sarcasm. I don't think we can do it.
I think we can manage it.
Oh, I don't know.
If there's a country which could pull that off, it's
the greatest country in the world.
It's
Belgium. Don't like Belgium.
I don't think I've ever heard Belgian humour. I've been recently watching.
Mostly just good-natured. It's just good-natured waffles and cheerful expressions.
I've
They're
been
a lovely
watching
country.
Comedians in Cars on Netflix, which is essentially Jerry Seinfeld.
I know of Jerry Seinfeld.
Comedian, obviously. Gets a vintage car, picks up a celebrity, and they go get coffee.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So it's that carpool show idea that BBC
it's essentially
forced in our faces for 3 months.
But it's good. Like,
okay, so it's not the end.
because essentially you get comedians, and most of them are comedians who go to get coffee, so they just tell them lots of jokes back and forth, so it's interesting, you learn a little bit of things. And he had Christoph Waltz, obviously Tarantino's German.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm not good at names.
Inglourious Bastards.
Yes.
Inglourious Bastards. Christoph Waltz.
He always keeps his accent.
He always keeps his accent. Just kind of like nice and clear. And he kind of gets in the car, and he's from Austria originally, and he's so quiet. He's so funny because he's so quiet, and he's just kind of refined. Whereas Jerry Seinfeld, quite loud, quite constantly talking, and you just sit and watch through the entire thing, and Seinfeld's just going on, and Christoph's just making these little facial expressions which add everything to the conversation, because you can see he's engaging, he's doing little things, he's commenting without even saying words, and I'm like, that's wonderful. And they go on about Austrian humour, and it's like, yeah, that's basically.
That's what we've got.
It's just, it's very, very nice. It's very, it's funny, but it's a little dark, but it's nice.
Most polite.
Yeah, it's just mostly polite. Whereas, American humour is obviously a bit
very loud and very rapid.
Yeah, real loud, rapid, in your face. It's advertising 101. That's,
I think I do. Yeah.
You got the bits at the end.
Yeah, I got the bits at the
Too
end.
much.
On that one.
I do.
Oh, God.
I mean, I haven't poisoned you yet.
I don't know how to use these fancy coffee things. I mostly mix it in the mug like a Philistine.
I mean, so in view of online, I mean, I feel like we're at a point now where I don't feel like online dating will die out.
No.
I don't think it'll get worse, particularly, because I think it's at a point where to get any worse out of this would have to be where you're essentially paying to see other people. To see profiles and that kind of thing, because at the moment online dating has that caveat. You can pay for extra features within your app,
but generally speaking, searching and messaging is
still free, and anything past that, you're essentially just a pornography site. You're paying to see other people, therefore you're paying to be titillized in some way for your enjoyment.
Yeah, which I think that is the point where it would suffer.
Yeah, I think it'd be interesting to see a dating app which has no pictures. So back to the classifieds.
So Craigslist.
Yeah, but less
without
creepy.
Craigslist.
Yeah.
The problem is once you don't have to verify who you are with images or whatever.
Well, no, you still have to verify who you are for the app, but no one will be able to see it.
I think if it was something where, like Tinder, you match based on a bio, and if you both agree, then you see pictures of each other.
Yeah.
And then you can unmatch, but they'll see that you matched and unmatched. Like
that'd be interesting. Yeah.
I think I'd be interested to see if that, because
would that get you back on online dating?
Oh yeah, no.
If there was something like
I would love that, because I would love to see the number of unmatches I would get when people see my awful pictures, because I'm not a very photogenic person. But I think I can probably write a bio that will be fairly interesting.
I mean, I don't know. I think you look alright in photos.
I've got some pretty grim photos of me. I'm going to be honest with you.
You just need better photographers.
I need more photos. I don't get taken pictures of me a lot.
See, yeah, that is a general.
Yeah, the number of pictures are quite small, and it tends
to
be.
You've got to start taking selfies, mate.
Oh, yeah.
You defeat your emotion to ignore the selfie.
Damn it.
I mean that was a challenge though, especially when I started doing all this stuff. Like again, I'm like you. I don't take photos of myself. It wasn't something I particularly did. I've taken more since starting online dating. It's become more of a regular thing. Of I need to update a photograph because I don't feel like that. Me 3 months ago looks like me now. So every so often, update that photo. But yeah, taking that first photo of this is what I want to project to the world. It took me I must have been for an hour. Trying to get a photograph of me, which I was happy with. And so I sent it to multiple friends. It was like, what is this? Is this my face? Does this represent me? I was so worried about
do I look like this?
Misrepresenting myself and not having that conversation of, well, you don't look like your pictures.
Well, I had, when I first started online dating, and I had to go through pictures of myself to try and create a profile, I got really paranoid, that I had really squinty eyes or something.
Okay.
And I realised the problem is I have really light sensitive eyes, and the pictures people were taking clearly had really heavy flash on them.
Yeah. So you're automatically
there's a lot of pictures of me what the hell is this? Because I don't know how bright it's going to be.
Yeah.
But now that I'm a bit older, I've got pictures of me dancing or doing art stuff. There's a couple more pictures of me where I look like a normal human being.
I mean, that's generally what most people.
People do prefer normal human beings.
Normal human beings. Yeah. That's generally the.
Well, that's what they say anyway.
Well, yeah. Everyone has that one for an unusual human being.
So, to be fair, if I turn up today and it turned out to just be an alien who pretending to be a woman, I'd stick around.
It'd be interesting. It'd be a story to tell.
Exactly. I went on the first interspecial date with an alien. Specify with an alien. Don't just say interspecial. People will think that's weird.
Just like dating cattle now.
My dog loves me. Not that way, though.
Yeah, hopefully
Your
not.
dog likes you because you give
way.
it food. It's not interested in you in that way.
I guess in a way we need to form some way of helping people like yourself who don't do well on online dating, of forming some kind of, not so much guide,
It's
but like advice line of what you can do to get out of that. You know.
Well, the advice people like to give me plenty
So
of advice.
this is saying, like, go back to you saying you hated advice.
It's not that I hate advice; it's that everyone gives
gives
really
bad
bad
advice.
advice. And the problem is, the people who think they're in a good position to give advice on dating are the worst people to give advice on dating because they're always people who've been in relationships for a while.
Yeah,
and have
you
forgotten
do
what being
forget.
single is like.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I've learned about single in the last year. I've had to learn about single.
Oh,
I mean,
let me teach you.
That's the thing. Like prior to this, I was in a 5-year relationship, and like, it was 3 years prior to that. I was essentially seeing the same person, and it was like, coming to single. I was like, I don't know how to single.
It's a lot of time sat doing stuff that you want to do, which is nice.
Yeah.
And then coming home from work and no one's there, which is not so nice.
No.
There's ups and downs.
Yeah.
I can come home and play Digimon World as much as I want.
Yeah.
And eat whenever I feel like it.
The one which gets me is waking up.
Yeah.
If you're feeling like a little bit low, and then you wake up and you're like, oh no, it's it. You're like, God damn.
You in a double bed as well when you're around?
Yeah.
Yeah, you just look across and
You're
there's this expanse. It's like,
There's just a
there
gap.
could be someone
You
here.
don't even have to wake up there. They can just be in the house. It's like there's someone around. And,
The noise of someone else in a house with you is very
Yeah.
relaxing, especially when you're upset or stressed. I think coming out of student houses, and coming into when I was working, like living on my own,
Yeah.
that is the thing you miss, is just pottering around.
See, I say that at the same time, and I felt like I could live with someone I wasn't dating anymore. I couldn't house share.
No.
I could no. Just like part of me in my brain. Like, so I sleepwalk
Oh, okay.
and I sleep talk.
Do you sleep naked?
No.
That's good.
No. I'm not shocking housemates. But
Just walk through their room,
occasionally,
naked, muttering.
occasionally I'll get out of bed. I'll think people are in the house, but I won't be panicked by it.
Okay.
I'll just close my bedroom door. I'll put on a t-shirt and I'll go back to bed. And I'll wake up the next day and I'll be wearing a t-shirt and my door will be closed. And I'll be fully aware of it, and I'm just like,
I didn't do that. I did do that.
I did do that.
I must have done that.
I don't know. I've lived alone for a year now. Like, there's nobody in my house. Why do I think people are? Why aren't I scared that there's people in my house?
Maybe there are people in your house.
Maybe. I mean, they could easily hide out. There's a fair few
There's a
hours
fair
a day
number
where
of
I'm not here.
corners. Have you checked all the corners since we came in?
No.
I'm concerned now.
I mean, there's a cupboard there. I've never been in there.
What, at all? In a year?
Maybe not for. Like, I don't think I've been in there this year.
This is what
It's been 4
clutter.
months.
This is what clutter does to you.
Close is amazing.
This is what blocking it with your bike does, I suppose. Actually, yeah.
So what's alright, so we've already had be yourself as the worst, as a terrible piece of advice. What's the 2 other pieces of advice which are the worst advice you've received?
Okay, so I've got.
And I will give you advice at the end of this. I will try and combat this as a person who is
you are actually
who is
also single, so you can
Yes,
actually
so,
give me advice.
yeah,
And I won't,
okay.
like immediately dismiss you.
Yes.
So my dad, bless him.
Our parents are terrible.
My dad is 62 now.
Right.
I hope he's not 61. He's going to be so offended if I've got his age wrong. He might be 60. He's 60 something.
It's gradually aging.
And him and my mum divorced 2 years ago.
Yeah.
2.5 years ago. Whole bloody story. And he came to see me a little while ago. And every time I see my parents, either of them, because both my siblings are in long-term relationships,
Right.
they always ask, "So Chris, are there any girls in your life? Are there any girls on the horizon?" As they all want to, you know. And the last time my dad came down, I said no success really. I said in the same thing I say to everyone, like, my job doesn't really help me meet people because everyone I work with is like 60 up over.
Yeah.
Not really what I'm looking for. And he gave me a weirdly rambling story about a guy he works with, quite a young guy, who's fairly nerdy, who recently got into a relationship.
Okay.
And he said to me a sentence that I adored, which was, "Have you tried online dating?" And I had to sit there passively and go, "You know, Dad, I've given it a bit of a shot. Yeah. Once or twice. But are you on only one site, Chris?" "Yeah, Dad. Yeah, 1 or 2. He said to me, "You don't talk about the fact you dance on that, though, do you?" So my dad's advice to me was, lie about your hobbies, because you might put someone off with your interests.
See,
Which was
that's terrible.
the worst. It's not just bad advice, it's counterintuitive advice. Because it's basically saying, don't actually tell them who you are.
Yes.
Be yourself, but also lie explicitly
Lie
about what you're interested
excessively about what you do and how you spend your time.
in. Like,
So you form a relationship on nonsense.
his perspectives seem to be, if I acted like more of a stereotypical guy,
Right.
women would give me a chance to introduce myself, and like I've said this before. I'm all right talking to people once I'm started.
Yes.
I'm not good at starting conversations.
Yeah. I'm the same.
Bullied
Yeah.
when you're young, like it just happens. You're not good at stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, his advice was just don't tell them you're interested in gaming or nerd stuff. Don't tell them you're interested in dance. Pretend you're interested in sports and stuff. I'm like, Dad, please.
Yeah.
This is like when I was younger, and he was talking to me about girls and girlfriends. Like when I was like 13, 14, and no one had a girlfriend because you were 13, 14. He's like, no, Chris, just be yourself. There's plenty of time and there's plenty of women out there. I'm like, Dad, you're right.
That's almost like your dad's gone for like a desperation punt of like, oh, that advice I gave him years ago.
Oh boy, I gave him
What you trying to do is just lie.
I gave him that advice when I was married and that didn't work well. Maybe if I do the opposite. Chris, pretend to be someone else.
Oh,
okay.
That's awful.
Yeah. It's brilliant advice.
Okay.
Oh man, I hope he doesn't watch this now.
I mean,
Dad, it wasn't good advice. Like,
it's not.
I'm not going to apologise.
I'm sorry.
Forget that
I've never
apology.
met you,
No,
but
you watch this.
that is just bad advice.
Oh, you won't have met my dad, no. I forget because a lot of my friends have, but it's never come up for you.
That's terrible. Don't do that. No, please, anyone watching this, if you're entertained, don't lie about what you're into.
What a great conversation that ended up being.
I mean, all I can picture is just sort of like, all right, so yeah, all right, just lie about it. It's like, oh, you're into skydiving. I'm into skydiving, terrified of heights. I'm into skydiving, no, but I'm terrified of heights. Like, oh, we're going skydiving next week. Like, great.
I've made a total mistake.
Halfway down, just screaming. I thought you liked skydiving. I do. That's how I express my enjoyment.
It's like roller coasters, though, right? You scream because you're enjoying it. Or like horror movies.
Oh, that's terrible. Okay, all right. So that's one.
Another piece of advice, which isn't bad advice, but it's not good dating advice.
Okay.
This might be my perspective. A friend said to me, improve yourself.
Improve yourself.
Which is good advice in general. Like, write more, go out about, improve your diet, work out more. Like, I had really bad self-body image when I left university. I was, rightly so, I was like 63 kilograms, and I'm 6'3".
Okay.
Like, I was horribly underweight.
Right.
So I packed on a lot of weight. I started working out, which I love. I adore going to the gym. I go every damn day. I'm an idiot. I'm psychotic for hurting myself in the gym. I've been limping at work for 3 days now because I twisted my knee.
But I'm not going to tell you that's wrong. I mean, I have addictive substances.
No, it's not good for
you have yours, I have mine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But the advice of improve yourself doesn't help with dating because it's something you have inside yourself, which doesn't make any sense. I'm just going to try and explain it. So I work out a lot and I can bench X amount.
Yes.
Which might be, to another person who's into fitness, vaguely impressive.
Yeah.
But there's no possible way I can start a conversation with, so hey baby, I go to the gym. Like, I've seen people do that, and I can only assume it doesn't work.
That is used.
Like, how do you start a conversation with, oh, so I go to the gym? Like, that doesn't work, surely. Or oh, hey, I write poems.
I don't know. I mean,
if you're in the right,
the only way that works is if the person who you are saying it to is in exactly the same mindset.
But then you have to know them already to know that.
Unless you're just trying it on everyone. In which case it's just a numbers game. Really.
The shotgun method.
It's a scatter blow of, hey guys, I go to the gym. Awesome.
2 people like perk up like,
gym?
You
Yes.
Good. Yeah, it's not
just see ears just perch.
So I suppose the best way of using that is you have a loud conversation with your friend in a bar and see who starts listening into the conversation.
That is interesting.
That could work, I suppose. I think it's good life advice. I think it's not good advice with the aim of being better at dating.
I mean that's an interesting one because the way that interests me is like on Tinder and on Cookie and stuff. I feel like when people become single, they go through a phase of I need to improve myself. I mean, I certainly did.
Yeah.
I went as soon as I became single. I was like, cool. I need to look at everything that's wrong with my life because this is why I'm single now. There's got to be a reason. I need to put a pen on it and go. I need to lose weight because I'm single now. So that's a necessity. I didn't need to be in a relationship because I was in a relationship. In the same way as like, I need to go out more. I need to go to events. I need to be interested in something because if I'm not, then I'm just me, and if I'm me, then people leave.
I'm just going to stagnate in this.
Yeah, and you kind of get into this weird little cycle of I need to improve myself. So when you go on online dating, you see a lot of people who are like, I go to the gym. You know, I've started reading this, or I've gotten really into this recently, and it's like they're trying to to push some concepts that they will be more interesting because they've got this new little thing. It's like trying to put like a little extra twist on yourself. So you've got you as normal.
Here's like new Coke, new Chris. New
this is everything I am. And like, when I do this, because then you've got a subject, common ground to talk about.
Yeah, I just feel like that's not a sustainable way of thinking about dating, but maybe that's just...
Well, no, I mean,
maybe it's because my
agree.
form of self-improvement was going to the gym a lot and writing, which are both two things you can't really start a conversation with, maybe.
I don't know, I feel like you
writing if you're in a writing group, maybe.
I mean, not even writing. I think if you kind of get into this, it's one of those things of I wouldn't say, I'd say it's bad advice to try and improve yourself just for the sake of dating.
Yeah.
I'd say it's bad advice to go, I need to do this because I'm single and people need to be interested in me. You know, I'm going to start going to this class because I need something to talk about because I'm boring. I think the way to approach it would be you look at your life and you go, these are the things I'm interested in and this is what I'll talk about. Because they don't know you. And I think this is what a lot of people forget, is a lot of people no one knows you. You know, you're a completely blank slate to them. So everything you think, everybody knows I do that. They don't. You know, it's like when I talk to people and they go, so what do you do? And I'm thinking, well, everyone knows that I draw. Like, that's my thing. People know that. And it's like, I've never met this person. They have no idea that I draw.
Unless they happen to have seen it through someone else.
You know, it's like, you do a podcast. And I'm like, oh shit, yeah, I do a podcast. I talk to people. You know, I completely forget to mention that because to me, it's an everyday. It's one of those things of like, everyone knows I do it, so I never think to mention it.
Yeah.
But when you kind of go along dating, it's like, well, you can mention it because they don't know it and they might be interested just to ask about it. So I feel like with writing, especially writing, because a lot of people don't write. They find it interesting to learn why you're writing, what you write about, why you kind of get into that kind of creative process, even if they're not into creative things themselves. But then the amount of people I find who aren't into creative things who do write is kind of crazy. Or people who just do it as a cathartic method, and they never mention it to people. They'll never mention it to anyone, any of their friends or family. They don't tell people they write, and then they meet someone else who writes, and they go, "Oh yeah, I do a little bit of writing."
Yeah.
And it's this nice little connection which you can make and be like, you know, you might not expect them to be writers, but they might write.
That's fair, I suppose, yeah.
And it's just finding that. I think I'll give you some advice of dating in terms of how I approach dating. Okay, so
please do.
I wouldn't say I'm the most successful dater, but I've had more success than you on something like Tinder as a what's the word? A comparison, let's say. I think we discussed this because obviously I've had Mel on before, who we discussed dating with. That was Dating 101. I'll probably call this Dating 102 and Self-Image. We'll let that, that's the title. And we said a lot of it is the terrible advice of be yourself. I don't necessarily think it's the advice of be yourself. I think you kind of just have to look at it as be honest. Because the more honest you are, the less you have to maintain a facade. And a lot of people go into dating and they worry so much about how they'll impress someone, how they'll get to know someone, what they look like. It's like, the more comfortable you are with you, the more someone responds to it, because you're not having to constantly backtrack. Essentially it's that classic image of, you go to a bar and you see a guy in a really tight shirt or a girl in a really short skirt, and all they do through the entire night is adjust their shirt and pull their skirt. It's like, you are not comfortable as you are, and you're going to just continue to maintain that, and then the more of you, the real you's revealed, the more that's going to slip. So you're just going to end up failing, because all anyone's going to see at the end is this mess who can't control his shirt or can't control his skirt, because the real you has come out. Whereas if you'd started off and worn something you were comfortable with, something which you didn't have to maintain as you went in, when the real you came out, you'd still look like you.
Yeah, I suppose, yeah.
And I think that comes into online dating of, when you start off, I mean, my bio for Tinder doesn't tell you anything about me really, because I wrote a short story. And that's my Tinder bio.
That's fair.
I wrote a short story about me sitting in my back room having a cup of coffee. And that's as much information as is there, but it's like, I'd rather do that than sit and say, I'm this tall, I work here, I do this. And you kind of, you do what you do, essentially, is to use a nice, be you do you. And it's that kind of balance of, if you go into it honestly, and you go into it with the things which you are interested in, you kind of find that little surprise. I can't give you obviously an idea of if you match how to get that message, because like online is it's a game. So if you're not part of their game, you're never gonna win it. But in reality, talking to regular people, as long as you kind of lead with the things which genuinely interest you, and then try and relate that to their life.
Don't lie. Ask questions. It is one of the only good pieces of advice I've ever received.
Ask lots of questions.
Let them talk.
Yes.
People love to talk.
People love to talk. People love to be asked about their life. Because it's not something you get in every day. You know, you go to work, people don't go, oh, what are you doing this? And then ask further questions and further questions. And again, you're a blank slate to them. You're a blank slate to everybody. So it's kind of, you know, even if you can just spark up a conversation about anything, I was going for a cigarette and talking to strangers. You know,
I'm not taking up smoking.
Take up smoking, Chris.
For the chance it improves my dating life. I'm not doing it.
But then I think that's the other thing. Like, I mean, I don't approach dating as I want to date. I just approach dating as I want to talk to people. And that's all I've ever approached dating as, is I will talk to someone. If that someone is someone I find attractive, then I'll try and move it towards, we should go for coffee, or we should, you know, get a drink or something.
Should go for a fag.
Yeah, it's one of those things of, as long as you're approaching everyone as a person, and as a whole, and them as an honest person, and you as an honest person, you have a higher success rate of just getting to know people, and then if people know you as a person, then you kind of roll on through that. And that's how I see dating. Anyway.
That's fair. So
I don't know if that's good advice or bad advice.
it's not the worst advice I've heard,
I mean,
as we've discussed.
I mean, it's one of those things of I wouldn't be comfortable hiding stuff about myself.
No.
For the sake of a date. You just got to leap in and be like, this is what I do. You know, you might find a balance with that. Yeah. I can't help but think that, and I realise there's a lot of balance. I mean, it took me a very long time to be comfortable with myself. I mean, as a child, I was fat. I was huge. And so I didn't find actual kind of comfort with myself till through uni. And then I ended up in a relationship, and you become very comfortable with yourself because you've always got someone there. So when you come out the other side, you're just like, this is what I do.
Who actually am I?
Yeah, you know, you kind of, well, what's everything which I've just been doing, you know? So you kind of clarify that and just boil it down. I think that's a lot of dating. I think it's just finding comfort with yourself. Because if you can't do it, how's anyone else going to do it?
No, true.
And the only way I think to be comfortable with yourself is just to go, accept, and look at it, really.
As long as I'm improving myself, I'm pretty happy with myself, to be honest.
Yeah.
That is a personal target, though, for me.
Yeah.
If I go to bed a little better than I woke up.
That's not a bad target.
Even if it's just because I helped someone that day, because that was nice.
I mean, I saw a great post the other day by Mel, who shared it from somewhere else, and it was this whole idea of you shouldn't feel bad if you've been unproductive, because everyone has different levels of productivity. It's like you shouldn't feel bad for just wanting a day where you're just you, if you've not gone out and done something. And I think it is, as much as self-improvement is a great goal, I don't think you should ever have a day where you're like, well, I didn't improve anything today, so I'm a terrible person. It's like, well, no, you made it through the day, but you didn't make anything worse. You know, you didn't go out of your way to fuck someone over. You didn't, you know.
not today.
No, you know.
I've had bad days.
It's like, it's the same as me. Like, I mean, you know, I get depressed when I'm not making. I have to be making something. Regardless of what it is, I'll just be making something. And then if I'm not making something, I'm like, this is awful. I'm done. And I've struggled to learn the idea that if I stop making things, that's okay. It's more of a compulsion. It's just...
You need to be going.
You need to be doing something.
I
I need to be thinking of something. I need to be creating something. And it's, you know, if I'm not, then I'm terrible. You know, I'm worthless. And it's like, well, I'm not.
No, yeah. I just had a break today.
I just had a break, and that was just to remind me that it's okay to stop. And then I can carry on and keep going.
It's the same mentality as it's okay to fail.
Yeah.
People are terrified of failure, especially nowadays. People just don't want to fail, but you need to. To succeed, you must fail. It's
a strange thing about it. I was thinking about this the other day, actually. We teach kids how to succeed, but you don't teach them how to fail, and how to recover from failure, because it's always the thing of, oh, you didn't win, you do better next time. You know, it's this, and then the parents love to make excuses of why someone else will win, and it's like, well, no, if you teach them that they could fail and that's okay. it's not the end of the world. You know, they can look at it and go, all right, well, that's clearly not for me. Or they can look at it and go, well, that's a challenge. But yeah,
I had a very poor experience with school that unfortunately put me off authorities telling me that I can be good or I can be bad. Do I have time to complain about my childhood real quick?
We can do a quick childhood complaint.
So when I was in...
Maybe we'll get some insight
into my childhood. Okay, here's an insight into my stupid secondary school.
Okay.
When I was doing my GCSEs, I did a load of them early in year 9. I finished them in year 10, just in like a year. Year 11, which is last year of secondary school, is before you go to do college or sixth form.
Yep.
I was doing an early year level, and I was doing a ridiculous number of GCSEs, and I was doing one in history. And I handed in my coursework, and got a little early to get it marked and see if I could improve it at all. And head of department gave me a letter to take home. I was like, okay, this is a new thing. Whatever. I took it home, gave it to my parents. And they'd asked them to come in and have a meeting with the head of department. They didn't say what about, which, even if you're a massive goody two-shoes, at the age of 15, you're terrified.
That's ominous as hell.
If school says, can you come in for a meeting?
It's like the text which says we need to talk.
You're
like, oh, ring me.
Okay.
Seriously, Mum, stop doing that.
Yeah, you need to stop ringing me as well. It's terrible.
What was it? She'll just text me, ring me. And that's all it'll
What's
say.
happened?
And I ring up and I'm like, is everything okay? It's like, yeah, everything's fine. Just want to talk.
Oh, my mum messages me and says, can I have some money? So,
I mean, both are ominous.
I'll trade.
Anyway, back to the letter. Yep.
So they got the letter and they went in, and they wanted to have a meeting with them. So I go in and I'm like, oh God, have I done something wrong? Have I said something I shouldn't have? No, I didn't. It was a vaguely inventive. It was like Medicine Through the Ages. So it was like a flip book that was like all pictures and images and all the information done condensed down. And they brought them in. It was like, oh, we want Chris to redo his coursework because while we like the style it's been done in, he can't reach highest grades the way it's presented.
Okay.
And my parents were like, oh, he's kind of doing a lot of stuff at the minute, so I don't really want him to do it. If he's already finished it, we don't want him to do it again.
Yeah.
But if it's going to make his grades suffer, like history's one of my good subjects. Like maybe we should try and fit it in. And God bless him to this day. My dad said to the teacher, so what would he get if he handed it in now? And they said, oh, he'd only get an A. And my dad went, what the fuck do you mean he needs to re-sit in it? Are you fucking kidding me? Because the year prior, I'd got an A in English. We did English language all in 1 year. And they made me re-sit that because it wasn't an A star. And my parents weren't thrilled, but I enjoy writing, so like, okay, no, I'll do it.
Yeah.
So my school wanted me to resit another A. My dad just basically went, no, he's not redoing it. You'll accept that. And at that point, I think I understood that however good I did academically was never going to be good enough. No. And so all of my A levels were music, theatre, performance arts. I did English and maths because I enjoyed them.
Yes.
Like I dropped everything I could to do with academics. Then I went and did drama at university because just that insight into you are just a number and you're not giving me enough numbers, so go and do the whole thing again was so frustrating.
That's in a way it's a strange thing. I learned that as well. There was something in school I learned of. You do your options in year 9 where you get to choose a couple of subjects, and I was like, cool, I want to do DT, art, music. Those are what I want to do. And they basically took me to a meeting and was like, you can't do these subjects. You can do art. We'll let you do art, but you can't do the other ones. And I was like, why? It's like because it doesn't match the timetable. And I was like, well, all right, I'll drop music. I'll just do DT and art. And I'm like, yeah, we're not letting you do that. And I was like, why? It's like, we need you to do advanced maths, and that'll take 2 periods. And I was like, well, why do you want us to do advanced maths? We want you to do advanced maths because you can get a good grade in it. And it was this view that, as a student in senior school, you are their number, and they are reflected on your performance within the academics. And I think that's something which a lot of people don't learn in school because they don't want to go do creative things. So they never have that barrier where they're like, or they're not doing too well, and it's kind of like they never get that realised, so they drag that into their later life and go, well, I always need to succeed, it takes time and work hard. Whereas I think a lot of creatives come to that barrier and go,
oh, this sucks.
So yeah, basically I'm just your pawn for this period.
I had exactly
Yeah.
that. To be fair, I wanted to do drama and dance,
Yeah.
and they just said you can't do both of those
Yeah.
because we need you to do.
We need you.
humanities.
You're
We-
capable of
you
getting
need
this
to do,
grade.
You need to do a language.
Yeah.
I despise languages.
Yeah.
I'm not very good at them.
Yeah.
Like, I did French GCSE and I got, I think, a C or a low B.
Yeah.
That was the worst grade of my entire GCSE. It makes the whole table look awful because there's like 3 Bs and 1 C. It's like,
Yeah.
what is this? There's like 12 A's here.
Yeah.
It could have been beautiful, but they made me do these stupid subjects.
Yeah.
Here's mandatory RE. Here's mandatory ICT.
And
What
as soon
the
as you
devil?
kind of abandon those academic subjects, you kind of you start to feel better.
Yeah,
You know, you start to explore the
I
things you
was
enjoy.
miserable in secondary
Yes.
school. I like to make it heavy and like I suppose mild trigger warning to anyone who gets really upset by those things. I attempted suicide when I was really young because of all the academic pressure I was under.
Yeah.
The second I left secondary school and went to college and did all my performance subjects, I was still doing English and maths. I was
Yeah.
still helping people with science, but because I wasn't expected to do reams of paperwork and coursework and helping people with their shit,
Yeah.
like I improved massively.
You alleviate that stress.
Yeah.
And find
And
ways
now
to.
that I'm older, I reckon that genuinely the reason I have all these problems, the reason my alopecia never cleared up, the reason I ended up with psychiatrists for so long was just because schools didn't care and just
Yeah.
went, oh, you're fairly sharp,
Yeah.
do everything.
Yeah.
Oh, Chris, do you want to do this course? Do you want to do that additional thing?
Yeah.
It was
It's the tragedy school. I mean, but then you kind of sat there, and it's the same lesson now. Of if you have something which is dragging you down, you have to learn to let that go. Be more honest with yourself, and then that leads into everything else. Which is an odd way of saying you need to improve yourself.
which is what I do.
Yes,
As best I can.
I think. I mean, just to bring us to an end point. I think we can clearly say that online dating is not for everyone. That's just the reality of it. And I think anyone who is struggling with online dating, I don't feel you should ever feel bad for stopping. You should definitely just go, this isn't for me. Not everyone does succeed on it. Step away from it, and just go, right, well, I'll meet people the traditional way. I'll talk to people.
Go join groups, join
Yeah.
online chat rooms, anything really.
Just get involved with things you enjoy, and you'll run into people who have similar interests.
Pretty much, yeah.
And that's essentially all you can do as people. But then I think there's as we're saying with pressure, I think there's a huge pressure, especially people of our age group, to be in couples, because we are seen as the next generation of people to have babies, to continue society, the
Yeah.
people who are controlling the vote. It's that kind of thing of we have that pressure, and it's like, well, once you let that go and realise that you can do it at any time,
There's also this weird thing of we have to grow up as fast as possible. Our parents want us to be having kids now.
Yeah.
But we're in our 20s. Like, my dad would have been nearly 40 when he had me.
Yeah.
Like, I've got ages before I get to that point yet.
Yeah.
But
it's the same with
Parents
success.
will
Like,
grandkids,
I
don't
think I find a lot of people, especially a lot of artists and creatives, really torture themselves about not succeeding. And then you look at a lot of successful artists and you think they weren't successful till they were 40.
Because so much art draws on life experience.
Yes, a lot. It's all about experience, and it's all about what you're putting forward. And people find more significance with messages coming from people who are older, because they go, well, they've clearly lived it. They've clearly had that time. And it's why a lot of people are so wary of art from like 13-year-olds and 16-year-olds. It's like, because there's so much angst behind it. There's so many problems, and they're growing and form hormones and all this kind of stuff. So I think as you go on, it becomes more significant in a way. And I think, it's you kind of roll into this, you stop putting pressure on yourself. Don't worry. Go do things you enjoy, and honestly, and people respond to that. I think that's it. That's the only advice I can ever give. It's just, I'm a very relaxed person.
I would say that's true.
I'm a very relaxed person, and I know it's bad advice to just relax. Because people hate to hear that. It's like, just let it go. It's like, I know it's hard to do, but it's something which
people like you are kind of tense all the time and constantly want to be in action.
Yeah.
It is hard advice to take, but you're right. You have to take it. You have
kind
to
of just have to. All you have to do is find a way to do it, even if it's just like for a brief moment of giving yourself that moment of relax. It takes so much edge off everything. It's like giving up coffee was hard. Not so much for the chemical imbalance, but because I use coffee as a daily relax. I make a cup of coffee, I chill out, I sit, and I don't really do much whilst I do it. I just sit and drink a cup of coffee. It takes me about 30 minutes, and it's just a decompression. It's like you just got to find something, some little bit. Especially if you can do that whilst you're out in public, then you're relaxed in public. Don't masturbate in public, though. If that's the way you relax, please don't masturbate in public.
Good grief. Yeah. No.
We don't endorse that.
No.
Yeah.
I'd say we don't. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Great. I think that brings us to a nice end.
Yeah. That's a fairly nice bit of advice to end on. Just relax.
Glad you think so. Thank you for coming, Chris.
That's all right.
I'm sure we'll have you back at some point.
I should hope so we can talk about something that doesn't make me quite so angry.
I mean, that's what I like, though. I like bringing people here, and that's why I let people pick the subject.
Oh, yeah, that's fair.
Yes, you pick the subject. I will talk about anything, because I will.
Because the host, you have to.
I will. I'll talk about anything. And, yeah, I think that's the way to do it. But, yeah. Thank you for coming. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, it's been nice.
And we'll talk to you guys later.
See you. Beep. Not touching buttons, man. I don't know what anything does.
To be honest, I